All right. So, tell me about yourself. When did you first, get into Wind Waker stuff?
Back in 2014, right? Yeah. No, sorry, 2013, I
Okay.
believe, when the Wind Waker HD came out. I had just started using Twitch recently at the time. And I was looking forward to the Wind Waker HD being released because it was my favorite Zelda game. And it probably was one of my favorite games of all time, at the time at least. And I was just on Twitch and I noticed that there was a Wind Waker HD category. So I started watching a couple of Wind Waker HD streams. One of them happened to be someone that was speedrunning the game at the time. Or that was speedrunning the Wind Waker SD, I should say. They weren't speedrunning HD because it had just come out. But through that person, I found speedrunning, and I just got into it through that.
Nice. Okay. So roughly how long from you saw speedruns of it and you kind of got into it, did you first start doing runs?
I didn't intend on doing runs when I first discovered it, funnily enough. I just started messing around. I was like, there's no way that's possible. You can't just walk through the boss door like that. And I went and tried it, and you could. So I was like, okay. And then I basically just spent most of my free time over the next 3 or 4 months messing around. I never actually thought I would be able to sit down and do a full run because of how long the game was at the time compared to how long the game is now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like back then it was the record when I started running it was 4 hours and 24 minutes, something around there.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd actually be able to finish a run. And then, so I first discovered speedrunning the day HD came out, which I want to say was something like September 18th in 2013. And then my first run was in early February of 2014.
Okay. Nice. When you joined the community, what was the community like? Like, who were the big names and the big players, and what was the chatter about?
The community, I mean, the community was very welcoming in some ways, but then other ways there were also some people who, I mean, people change over time. I don't want to badmouth anyone, but all communities are going to have nothing's perfect. So yes, the community was very welcoming, but also there were some challenges early on. Trying to get into the game at a newbie level.
I get you.
No, the overall community is very welcoming.
Nice.
Speedrunning wise, though, I've made many lifelong friends. Friends I have like for a very long time from speedrunning, even though speedrunning might not always be like a part of what we talk about.
I get that. I agree personally 100%. I've definitely made a bunch of lifelong friends through speedrunning stuff. So, and this isn't a drama channel. I'm not trying to stir up any shit.
No, of course. I realized I went off topic there. I don't know why. My bad.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
If I get off topic, feel free to just let me know, because I tend to do that a lot.
So, do you remember any of the big names around that time? Like, I'm just trying to get a perspective on like who are the people in 2014. You're like, oh man, I assume Demon is around, right?
Right. Yeah. Sorry. So I did forget about that little bit that you asked. The big names at the time would have been formerly Cosmo Wright, or Narcissa now. Demon, definitely. The person that had just gotten the record, which when I believe it was 324, was Kolja.
Yep.
Some other people at the top. I really don't remember many of the top runners at the time, at least for the any percent category. Well, I mean, any percent was the main category that was run.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the length of that game definitely had a damper on how many people ran it, and it's often like been perceived as one of the harder 3D Zelda runs, so that definitely turns people away as well. It's usually had a smaller group of people at the top level, at least from my own perspective, it seemed that way. And It's changed more recently, though. Well, the top runners now are nuts. Like the top 2 or 3 spots, they're insane.
Yeah, for like the new indie percent, like with all the barrier skip stuff. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I think from what it sounds like it's a Wadi, right? And a Loa Kirby.
Yeah, and what's funny is I remember when both of them started to run the game. They both started to run it back when I had the record. Before barrier skip was even a thing. When I had the record and it was just sub 4, like 355, 356, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they've been running it for quite a while.
Okay. Yeah.
As well.
That's what, 2014? That's like 7 years now.
Well, they started
2015. Sorry.
I want to say that they probably started a little bit late. I mean, obviously you could ask them, but my guess would be they started sometime between 2015 and 2016, somewhere around there.
Still, it's a long time.
Yep.
We mentioned Demon. I think you mentioned also Kolja had the record at the time. And that was kind of a weird scramble, I think, because it was like he got it, and then Demon got it back, and then somebody else got it. I wish I had the thing in front of me, actually.
It would have been Gymnast.
Gymnast, yeah.
Yep. He would have been the one.
Yeah. SVA.
Yep. It would have been Demon. Yeah, so Kolja, Demon got it back. Gymnast beat Demon. And then I don't think SVA got it right after that. Demon might have had it once or twice, and then SVA got it. And then SVA and Demon went back and forth a couple times. And then I got it, and then after I got it, Demon and I just went back and forth.
Yeah. The common thread here is that Demon seems to always come back for his record. What is Demon like as a runner?
He's among one of the most consistent people when it comes to how consistent they've been with speedrunning. So don't get me wrong, he is a very good runner, but he's also one of the most consistent. He's not someone that will walk away from speedrunning for like 6 months to a year. He's like always going at it. So like that plays such a huge part in so many people being good at the games that they run and being consistent at the games that they run, because they stay so much more up to date with everything.
Absolutely.
Like Gymnast 86 is another great example of that. Like he's consistently been speedrunning since 2014, maybe even earlier. So
there's definitely a couple people, but definitely a couple people on Twitch that I've watched over the years. I've followed Demon for 6 years now. He's never not been speedrunning.
Yep.
Okay. And then you took the record. So how long do you think it took you to get from starting out pretty new to competing with, this guy Demon who's been speedrunning every, for the last forever, years?
So it's kind of I think that's an interesting question, because over the years since then, speedrunning has become much more optimized, and everyone's mindset has improved, I think, and the way people practice has improved. So at the time, I got, let's say, to the top level relatively quickly, because I had the record. The first time I got the record was in December of 2014, so it was like less than a year since I started running.
Okay.
And but the thing is, there was lots of time that could have still been saved then, right? The game was still very, very challenging. But because when runs are really hard, there's usually more time to save. As a run becomes more and more consistent, generally there'll be less time to save because you just play so much better compared to what you're capable of. So I feel like that made it easier to get to a top level back then. Although I guess you could argue that it might be equally as easy now, since the run is so much shorter. Like, yeah, some of the tricks are harder, but the smaller amount of gameplay might make it easier too. So
Okay, I get what you're saying.
that would be an interesting thing to actually like see some numbers on, assuming there was like large enough of a sample size to collect that type of data. But that is like unlikely to happen.
Probably
Not a very realistic report or study to try and conduct.
Yeah. Try getting a grant for a double-blind placebo test. Speedrunners learning 80% now versus then.
All right, we're going to hire 100 people to try and get as good as possible within a 6-month period of time.
Dude, I'd love to see it. I would love to see some big budget science team put together like, all right, guys, we're going to make sure all y'all get to top level speedrun.
I mean, that's crazy because you basically have to be paying them like a decent salary for a certain period of time for them to put the time in.
Exactly. Anyways.
Again, sorry, sidetracking.
I know, it's okay. It's okay. We're just big chilling here. So, let me think of how I want to word this, right? There's so much more time to save, right? I think in just 2015 alone, you saved almost like 10 minutes, right? But there weren't any major strat changes, right? It was mainly just like little small things, just a collection of like, oh, we're going to go like, I don't know. It's probably a lot more, what's what I'm looking for? A lot more complicated than just, oh, you went left instead of right or whatever. But, like, tell me about just sort of squeezing out every second of those runs.
So a lot of it has to do with kind of what I mentioned before, and the fact that as you play more, the more consistent you become. The less time there is to save, but also as you get better, you become more consistent and you realize how much better you can do certain things. So there were many times where I would, let's say, get a best segment somewhere, and then I'd realize, wait, hang on, I missed storage twice during that segment. I can still beat that segment by another 4 seconds. And then I get another segment that didn't miss storage at all. I saved those 4 seconds, then I realize, wait, I had 4 extra buffers during these super swims. I can save another 2 seconds. So that type of thing would happen constantly. And then even after you save that time, you still oftentimes realize you can still squeeze another second or two out here and there. But there's definitely implementation of new strats as well. I can't really remember any off the top of my head right now, but there were constant like little things that could be done. And then, like I said, back then, speedrunning wasn't as the top level for a lot of like runs wasn't as optimal as it is now in relation to like what we knew was possible. Oftentimes runners would choose, and sometimes people do still choose consistency over speed, particularly for longer runs like the Wind Waker. So that's oftentimes something you have to balance in a longer run as well. Do I want to go for this strat that can save me 15 seconds, but might cost me the run? Or do I just, take the 15-second time loss, maintain my 2-minute lead, and then just, get to carry on for at least 30 minutes until the next potential big time loss or whatever. Yeah.
No, there's definitely a wait where it's like, oh, I'm 3 hours in and I'm 2 minutes ahead and I want to risk it all for like a 10-second timer saver. Nah, miss me with that.
Yeah, no. So, have you watched Twilight Princess runs by any chance?
I have seen some, yeah. It's been a little bit, but yeah.
So you haven't seen any more recently?
I guess not really. What's the new thing recently?
But what I was gonna say is I was gonna use TP as a good example. If you'd watched any runs recently, oftentimes top runners will have some type of standard or amount of time that they expect to lose over X amount of time. So let's say that I'm running a game that's an hour long. My PB is 1 hour, and my sum of best is 59 minutes, right? If I think losing 1 second per minute is realistic and would be considered good gameplay compared to my best possible, gameplay or my best possible time and my sum of best, then that's a good run. That's like a pretty solid run, right?
Yeah.
Especially for a run that's only an hour long. So I was going to use TP as a good example. I think the best runners right now aim for pretty much about the standard I just said, losing 1 second per minute of gameplay to their best segments.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a. Honestly, I forgot what the original question was, but I knew I had a reason for answering in this way. There's like a standard for time loss that a lot of runners kind of go for, and over time, that has definitely become more strict at top levels.
Yeah, I think that you answered that question really well. With the question being, what was it like optimizing? It's like, if for every minute of gameplay, it was like we can expect to lose like 3 or 4 seconds to our best, right? And then slowly but surely you bring that time down. Like we bring it down to closer to 1 second per minute.
Yep. So that was a good answer then, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, back when I was running, I would have been aiming for something like, it would have varied depending upon which part of the run it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think even back then, I kind of wanted to aim for losing only a minute to my sum of best in the first hour. But every hour after that, I was okay losing like a minute and a half or a minute 45 to my sum of best every hour. Granted, I didn't always meet that, obviously, but that was the goal.
I get you. Okay. Was breaking the sub 4 hour barrier like a big deal?
It was. It definitely was. It got a lot of us excited. The same day that Demon got the first sub 4 was actually the same day that Gymnast revealed his first task of the Wind Waker. And it was a task he did in secret too. I don't know if you knew about that, but that was a pretty cool part.
I only know about the Trog one. I need to go back and watch the Gymnast one.
Yep. So he did a task in secret over the course of like 3 or 4 months. And then it just so happened that he had it finished and was waiting to release it on the day that Demon got sub 4. So he basically went live right after Demon got sub 4.
That's crazy. Was he waiting for the sub 4 or was he just waiting? He was like, okay, this is the day I'm doing it.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think I asked him about it at one point in the past. But if I was him and I was sitting on that and Demon was getting sub 4, I think I would have taken the opportunity. He probably sees the opportunity. He probably saw it as like a spontaneous thing. It was like, hey, Demon's about to get sub 4. Let me ride this hype train. Absolutely.
That is 100%. You take those. We take those. Okay. Let's see here. What do I want to bring up next?
No questions about barrier skip yet? I'm disappointed. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, listen, it's on my mind, and I want to talk about it at some point. But I wanted to get through a couple other things specific to you before we get to the general.
Yeah, no, of course.
Busting my balls out.
No, I was joking. Like that's one of the main things. People are like, what about barrier skip?
I know
it's
a huge part of it.
It's the thing in the Wind. It's been the thing in the Wind Waker for so long.
All right, you know what? Let's talk about it. Wind Waker barrier skip has been such a massive thing. I remember when I first learned speedruns were even a thing. I remember watching a video by now Narcissa about like barrier skip 101, I think it was called. Yep. I watched it again recently, just sort of like reminisce about it. And that is a puzzle that looks like it has no answer.
No puzzle has no answer though, right? It's just some can be harder to solve.
That is true. So here's the thing that I want to know, right? Because obviously we see that one video that's like, it'll never happen, whatever. And there's always small developments and everyone wants to look at it every once in a while. But like, what do people think about it? Like on the year-to-year basis. It's like, it's 2014. What are people thinking about barrier skip? It's 2016. What do people think about it now? Like what changed?
Yeah. What changed? I have a funny relationship with barrier skip because I was near the core. I was at the core. I was the one that accidentally found the tech that allowed the bomb push clip, which is the newer method. Yeah, so I discovered that entirely accidentally. And then I don't remember if I was the original person that discovered actor unloading or if I was one of the first, like the first one that was like, hey, this is actually something that needs to be checked out. I had both happen in 2014, I think. 2014, 2015.
Wow.
So in 2014, I want to say barrier skip. I don't think it was something anyone like thought was possible, right? I would say that barrier skip 101 video does a good job of showcasing the mentality most runners probably had towards barrier skip. And that same mentality probably was probably the same type of mentality everyone had towards barrier skip until barrier skip was actually found, minus when we discovered actor unloading, which essentially, I don't know all the little intricate details, but it involves overloading and like fragmenting the memory in certain ways, so that way when you load areas, certain actors fail to load. Also, you can get like cutscenes to not load. You can load an area a cutscene's supposed to play, but too much of the RAM is full, so the cutscene won't play.
Yeah, I have a vague understanding, and it seems kind of mystical and out there.
Yeah, so that was one of the initial the initial discovery of that came with myself and, again, probably someone else accidentally unloading song stones in the Wind Temple, which are actors. So whatever we did at the time, I don't remember what it was, caused the RAM to like be messed up in a certain way, and then those actors would just fail to load when you loaded the dungeon, or when you loaded the dungeon. So of course, for a time, probably almost immediately after that, people would joke, what if we just unload the barrier? Well, little did we know. And then same thing when I discovered bomb push clipping. Basically, there was a trick in Diamond State that required you to do an L slide, where you place a bomb down on the ground, and then you hold out the hookshot and you slide Link to the left while he's hookshotting a target, and then the bomb that you place down will knock you off the hookshot's trajectory into the out of bounds area that you were like being pulled through.
Okay.
But one day when I was going to place that bomb in the correct spot, I B-dropped. I would usually, basically, I dropped the bomb and I got pushed into the wall. So that was a moment for everyone. Like, wait, I can just drop the bomb and go into the wall. It seemed like a weird special case because it seemed like we were being pushed onto a protruding, like a protruding seam. It wasn't like a seam that was like straight vertical, like the barriers. Granted, I think the barrier has a little gap too. That's why it works. But yeah, so of course after that, also everyone was like, "Oh, what if we just push clip through the barrier with a bomb?" And of course, someone made a fake video at the time where they edited themselves doing it to the barrier. We're like, "Oh, haha, that's funny." And then we all moved on. Granted, a lot of people did spend some time trying to do it, but the trick ended up being so precise that it took years, obviously, for it to work when someone tried it.
Yeah. I was talking with Bowser is Bored, I believe. And he was talking about that, like, I think Trog wrote some kind of script to sort of like try it, and because it was so precise, he just barely missed it, and then it's just written off as, okay, it's not a real thing, can't do it.
Yep.
You know, and then someone later was like, no, it's very, very, very precise, but it is possible. So that's so crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember how or who originally, like, when it was found last year, right?
My dates are not good.
Yeah, at the start of last year, when the bomb push clip method was found at the start of last year. I don't remember who found it or how it was found, but it was crazy that such a thing's possible now. When we joked about it for so long. Yeah.
But actor unloading was a big thing, because like what I missed was actor unloading was the first sort of iteration of barrier clip or barrier skip, right? And so were you around in the community?
Right? I was like halfway through trying to take a year away from speedrunning.
I get you.
That wasn't going very well. But I was around, yeah. So there's this person that creates Dragon or person that creates Dragon. Let me retry that. Do you know who Dragon Bane is?
I know the name. I don't know what they do.
Okay. So Dragon Bane, he's been in the speedrunning community for quite a number of years now. I don't know when exactly, but one of his main thing is creating tools for speedrunners to use.
Okay.
It could include practice tools or test tools. I think he's done some dolphin development. But basically, he was the one that discovered barrier skip via actor unloading was possible through using, I want to say, dolphin, memory viewer, and a couple other things. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, he was the main scientist behind that.
All right. I might have to reach out to him.
I definitely would recommend it. He's a very smart guy.
Sounds like it. All right. Okay. Moving on from barrier skip, that's a big deal, and that's definitely going to be a huge part of the video. So thank you for bringing it up.
You're welcome.
I guess the last thing I really wanted to talk to you about is, there's this constant stream of small improvements, and then one day it just stops. April 7th, 2016, you get a 3:55:44, and then there's not a new world record for over a year.
When was the next one?
The next record was by Demon in 2018, January 2018.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. That would have been with the manual super swimming, right?
Good question.
So. I'm pretty sure it was, because that's when he started to implement that.
It might be. I'm a little early in my research process, so
all right.
my dates are, like I said, not. They're in disarray at the moment, so I'll have to look through my notes.
Have you found the progression, the world record progression graph?
I'm looking at the one on speedrun.com. But is there a different one that I'm not aware of?
Let me look at one on speedrun.com too. There is. Someone made one. Let me see if it's in my sheets.
Actually, let me double check. So one of the things you'll notice is that here in the server, you now have access to the Wind Waker channel. At least you should. All the way towards the bottom in projects.
Category. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong channel.
All the way at the bottom. Maybe I didn't. Hang on.
I don't see it. Oh wait, no. Yep. Sorry, I see it.
Okay, cool. I was like, I'm pretty sure I gave you that role.
Yep.
Okay. So we have a whole bunch of links here I need to look through.
Yeah. Yep. No, Cries has it right here. No, not Cries. Sorry. Yeah, it's a Google sheet. Google Doc. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see it.
World record history. Yeah.
CJ, it's all good. Yep.
Yeah. CJ's my editor.
Ah, okay.
Alrighty.
Let me look at this. April 7th. Manual Super Swim first. Okay. So what was your question about this? I'm sorry.
my main question was why do you think that everything stopped in 2016?
So remember what I said before about speedrunners being consistent with speedrunning? Mm-hmm. I did not run the game past that point.
Yeah, it's your PB to this day, isn't it?
That's no. I was actually doing runs recently. I've got a 118 now, but the only reason the time stopped improving there was because I stopped running. I could have definitely improved it farther.
Mm-hmm.
I could have seen myself getting like a 250, really close to a 250 without the manual super swim.
Damn.
Probably a 252, I want to say.
Any reason in particular, or you just were like, I need a break?
Personal reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I mean, like I said, assuming I was still running the game, I could have been improving it.
I get you.
I think that's one of the really big things that determines whether or not a game's time or a person's time can be improved is whether or not they're running it. If a game's not being run by someone that has a skill level to improve the record, then the record's just not going to not going to improve.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on the backs of the top players, you know.
Yeah, but I think that can definitely be misconstrued by like the vast majority that if a time's not improving, then it's because the time is like perfect. And that's not to say like there aren't runs that are really, really good and really, really solid, but like almost no run is perfect. As someone who's had the record in a few games now, and who has like seen the record in many, many other games, and has the experience, you know, who has a greater level of experience, like seeing time losses in runs, even games that I don't run. And then runners saying, "Oh, this run's like really, really good or perfect." It's like, I mean, it's really, really good, yes, but runs can always be improved.
Always.
There's no perfect run, sadly.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Around that time, I think Demon was also taking a break, right?
He was running other stuff, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
At least I think he was. I know if he did take a break from speedrunning, it would have been around that time as well.
I guess I meant a break from Wind Waker, but he was probably just running something else.
Yeah, I know he ran some other stuff over that period of time, but he might have actually taken a break from the Wind Waker around then too. I'm not certain.
I get you.
But yeah, so oftentimes, most of the time, not most of the time, but oftentimes, yeah, when times aren't improved, it's because, someone with the skill required isn't improving it or trying to improve it.
There you go. All right. So I think that's all the questions that I really had for you. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you're like, bro, we have to talk about this?
I wouldn't say at the moment, but if you definitely have other questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me.
Absolutely.
Since you're still, it definitely seems like you're still, formulating exactly how you're going to put this together.
Yeah.
And still doing a lot of the research. So like I said, I know I mentioned manual super swimming. So I think that would be a good thing to talk about, but it would definitely be better if you had some. Do you know what it is or no? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I talked to a couple people about it. Like just like grab the controller and you just
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw a video I think by Awani.
Okay, you probably already have what you need on it then.
Yeah, talk to EJ125. That is numbers.
Yeah, I believe so. You probably have the information you need about it then.
Yeah, like I have a couple of like more recent runners, that I've talked to so far, but I still need to talk to Gymnast and I want to talk to Demon. So you mentioned Dragon Bane. Yeah. Was there anybody else that you would suggest that I talk to? Right. You're like, oh man, this video would not be complete if you didn't talk to blank.
Trog,
yeah. He's in the server. I should ask him for an interview.
Definitely talk to Trog. Definitely try and reach out to Dragon Bane. A lot of the, most of the top runners, I'd say right now, if you're able to reach out to them and try to talk to them, definitely do it. Like I said, Iwabi and Aloha, they've been running for many, many years now. Obviously Jim, but you've talked to him already, I think you said.
I need to sit down with an interview with him because we've chatted about just stuff in general. But.
Yeah, I mean those would be my main recommendations. Trog and Dragon Bane are like I say it a little bit exaggeratedly, but also at the same time not really. They've like kind of put the Wind Waker community on their back at times. Because like I said, Dragon Bane he was the one that initially found actor unloading, barrier skip. Trog's found a bunch of major skips. Dragon Bane's, a lot of other major skips have been found because of Dragon Bane. Both of them have created tools for speedrunning related things. Trog did the second task.
Yep, I saw that one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me go ahead and end this recording here. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.